This is Tom Higgins, otherwise known as the Colorado Cannibal. You may have been told fictional horror stories as you grew up, such as Jason, a serial killer who terrified and killed several counselors at a campsite. The man with a hook for a hand, who attacked teenagers on Lover's Lane. However, the life of horror Tom Higgins is no myth. These are the horrific crimes committed by him. He brutally murdered and consumed 3 Colorado Springs orphans in 1990. We hear from Higgins' foster mother to figure out exactly what happened to make him snap. Join us as we unravel the gruesome life of the Colorado Cannibal. 1979, Sherman Hills, Colorado. 15-year-old Tom Higgins was relocated to an orphanage. 7 months prior, both his parents were shot and killed on sight by an intruder. Higgins sought safety beneath his bed, forced to listen to shrieks of terror coming from his parents and then them slowly fading into silence upon gunfire. The orphanage Higgins was placed in was one of terrible condition, small and worn down. No longer being able to take care of the children, the orphanage later was forced to file for bankruptcy.
Prior to adopting Tom, I had seen how horrendous the orphanage was. People called it the eyesore of town. Gossip spread about the lack of food for the children and the extremely overcrowded living conditions. Many kids slept on an empty stomach each night, lying on the cold ground. It broke my heart. Unfortunately, I didn't know how deeply it affected Tom. I adopted him, gave him proper food, but he had no interest in eating it. I thought the reason was he just wasn't used to a good home-cooked meal. Later I found out it was for a different reason.
Over time, mice, raccoons, and other wild rodents sought home in the orphanage.
When I heard how animals came in at any time of night, I couldn't believe my ears. I mean, how can a building in that kind of state legally house children? Orphans, for that matter. Just thinking of the sanitary conditions those poor kids dealt with makes me sick.
At first, Higgins disregarded the mice that occupied his room. He didn't make much of it, not like the other children did. As days turned to weeks and slowly into months, Higgins decided he didn't want to go to sleep every night starving, so he ate whatever he could find, starting with the mice.
From what I heard, Tom ate anything living he found in his room. Mice, cockroaches, even maggots.
After living with his new mother for 6 years, things seemed to be going okay. He had a new life.
So by this time, I thought anything troubling Tom had gone away. He was doing well in school, had lots of friends, even volunteered at a local animal shelter and orphanage. He just seemed to be happier. There's still one thing troubling me. I noticed when we would have dinner together, he wouldn't eat much of his food, only a small portion, and then he would excuse himself to his room, not opening his door for the rest of the night. It was concerning. I thought he was developing anorexia, only he wasn't super thin. I began to wonder, if he wasn't eating the meals I provided him, where could he be getting his food from? I didn't look that much into it. I was just happy to see him in good shape. I really wish I did. Maybe things would have turned out differently.
Sarah's decision to not check up on her son in the past would haunt him for the rest of her life. Doing so may have prevented the gruesome actions which soon transpired. Higgins' desire for small rodents, cockroaches, and maggots soon escalated to larger animals, like his neighbor's pets. The desire for tasting various meats was soon documented in a journal that included his likes, dislikes, and possible future victims.
I started noticing lost pet posters scattered around the neighborhood. Dogs, cats, rabbits. They were disappearing out in thin air. Soon, rumors spread about the mysterious missing pet incidents. Some said it was a coincidence. Others believed they were stolen. I never thought anyone had the heart to steal them, until I stumbled into some crumpled up papers in Tom's room. They contained disgusting imagery about the taste of dog's flesh, I couldn't look away. How could I be so naive not to see this? I knew then that the person that I'd willingly taken into my house all those years ago was no longer the same person. Regardless of the uneasy feeling after encountering his secrets, I couldn't bring myself to abandon him. He had no other place to go. I needed to deal with the problem before it escalated.
No success in trying to reach despicable acts committed. Her son was too far gone.
I tried pleading and pleading with Tom. You can't do this. This isn't right. But he wasn't listening. It just seemed to make him angry. Finally, he told me, "You would never understand. You're not my real mother." He grabbed all of his stuff and fled the house.
The next time Sarah saw her son, he was behind bars. 2 days after Higgins left the house, she noticed a strange smell coming from his vacant bedroom. At first, she thought it was one of the dead animals that Higgins brought in. Upon entering the room, she instead found mutilated bodies of 3 children. Later, we find out they were orphans from the place of Higgins volunteering. After reporting her shock and findings to the local police force, Higgins was quickly arrested, only to be convicted of manslaughter, 3 counts of first-degree murder, and 5 counts of animal cruelty. He was placed on death row to be killed by lethal injection on the evening of January 24th, 1991. The story of Tom Higgins has spread across the country. With each passing, the story changes. Some heard he was responsible for his birth parents' death, or that his body count of those consumed being much higher than 3, always possessing the intent to consume more. One thing we know for certain, the story of the Colorado cannibal is one that will not be forgotten.